Hey there, sorry I'm late. Sorry about that last video. I cut off the beginning 2 minutes because it was so distorted. Let me see. Boop. Okay, no, I don't need this. All right, so let me pull up that video. I want to make sure there's no ads on it. I mean, aside from every 30 minutes, that should be enough. I'm going to turn off my sound. Oh, look, I'm live. Okay, so last week's lesson, we're going to talk more about pentatonics, more about soloing, conceptually stuff, soloing. Hey, Sam. That's kind of what we're going to talk about. What was that? What I'm looking for? Monetization, manage mid rolls. Okay, yeah, I already got to it. Cool. All right, so that one's fine. I chopped off the beginning because it was distorted. Hey, Lucky, what's going on? I've been seeing your post on Instagram. You're getting some tracks. You're working on with some artists. That's awesome. Working your way up. I dig it. Let me know if there's ever an artist you think I should write with or write for. I can send you the tracks. That's the next thing you should be, I mean, that's the thing. If you're Lucky, I think you're mainly an engineer, mixing engineer. And maybe already producing, but writing is also a thing. I remember first time, I gave Josh a percentage of Yellow Raincoat. He was so happy. It was like, but I was happy that he called me for the session. So, yeah, I mean, whatever pays the bills. Trust me, you can look behind me and you can see that my career is just a patchwork of whatever gig pays at the moment. One of the things professionally that I've done is that you've got, particularly in the music business, you've got so many different ways you can make money, so many different areas, and you can kind of steer your gear purchases towards the thing that you're making, that you want to be doing. But sometimes you like start making money in a different area and you need to push some money that way. Hopefully there's like gear you can buy that maybe has crossover, like if you're doing session work but you want to be a producer, buying anytime you can get a good mic preamp or something, that's always going to benefit multiple vehicles. But yeah, it's definitely it's kind of a game where when you're a music professional, you have to be the lawyer, you have to be the manager, you have to be the agent, you have to be the artist, you have to be the acquisitions, head of acquisitions and marketing, and you have to be able to do all these jobs. At the highest level, then you pay people to do all those jobs, and they take a piece of your money. But initially, in fact, there's a book out. The guy that I think the guy that created CD Baby and sold CD Baby for 40 million or 20 million or something like that. He wrote a book, and one of the things that he said was that corporations should seriously consider hiring successful musicians, not like successful musicians in the sense like John Mayer, or someone like that, but hiring someone that's got a career. They've managed to be in 5 bands all working at the same time. They've managed to do all these things because they can come into a corporate setting and look at what you have and go, well, these people are in the wrong job. They should be over here, that kind of thing. And a lot of times someone that's been self-employed, but in particularly in the arts, has a way to look at things. Alex and I had dinner with Skunk Baxter from Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers a couple of years ago, and he works for the Department of Defense. And the reason he works for the Department of Defense is because he thinks outside the box, and he solved some weird missile thing. And so he flies to Langley like I think twice a month or something. It's crazy. So, all right. Let's see. Hopefully we won't have any like throttling of the live stream or any kind of. Let me pin the Discord link here. Sorry, do that so it's always there. Everybody hangs out the Discord. Anyway, Lucky, I'll talk to you later. I'm sure you got to go. Oh. Oh, Lucky deleted this. Hey, Dennis. Bruce, Timothy, what's going on? Hey, Stanley Explorers, made it. Joseph's in the house. Bob's in the house. Of course Bob's in the house. Sam's in the house. I already said hi to Sam. He was first in. Usually it's Bob, right? Bob, you're usually the first one in. I don't know what happened to Lucky's messages, but he didn't say anything bad. I know that. All right, so we're going to talk more about, hey, Jenna. Okay, no worries. Watch me later. But we're going to talk more about just soloing, conceptually, things like that. One thing we could do, I mentioned this before from that book, The Advancing Guitarist, Mick Goodrick's book. And it's a weird book. I bought it because someone recommended it, or I can't remember. I bought it, and I opened it up, and there was hardly any music in there at all. I'm like, well, what the heck is this? It's not a guitar book. And it was more like conceptual things. And I reluctantly started reading it, and it was really, really, really good advice. So I'll give you a link here. Yeah, $18 to have a hard copy. Not bad. Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, Kindle is. Oh, never mind. Paperback's $37. Wow. Not cheap. But if you feel so inclined, if you're in a rut, it's a good rut buster, I think. It's a good book to open up if you're, and I don't even know if I have my copy anymore. I think I loaned it to a student and never saw it again. I maybe have it, but I may have to order another one. But it's one of the things it talks about is playing on different strings, like don't play, on the same 3 strings. Like that, adjacent strings, maybe skip a string. And if you look at this diagram here, boop, to my right, on my right side, your left, you can see all of the pentatonics, I call this one number 5, in A minor. Might have to tune here. In A minor, and then number 1 and then number 2, and those are my numbers that I gave them. They're kind of arbitrary, not arbitrary, they're in order. However, I don't know that anyone else calls them number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. The one that we all know at the 5th fret there, that's kind of the common first scale you ever learn, at least up the fretboard, that A minor pentatonic is, I call A minor, I call it number 1. Well, you'll notice number 1 has 3 roots. 3 minor roots anyway, 3 A's. I was sharp. And so that means you've got 3 roots that you can land on. When you land on a root, it kind of is an indication to your audience that you know what you're doing. You don't want to constantly land phrases on roots. That gets a little boring. If I were to do that here with this jam, let me just. Boring if you constantly land on the root, but occasionally landing on the root and knowing where those roots are, they're notated by the R's here. 5th fret of the 6th string, 7th fret of the 4th string, 5th fret of the 1st string. When you do that, when you land on those occasionally, it's kind of like you'll get a sigh of relief from your audience that, oh, okay, he does know what he's doing. especially if you go off scale. You know, if you go out of the key. Now you can actually do that sometimes. Going up wasn't always a good idea, but I know a lot of guitar players will do things like that with they'll start in the main pentatonic, and then they'll try to find a way. They'll slide out of it down a half step and try to find a way to justify that movement. Like, yeah, see that major third doesn't work good. Just, get going one fret down on all these notes. You can sometimes find a cool thing in there. Eddie would do this. So he's playing this pentatonic. Eddie Van Halen, if you don't know. Not Eddie Lang. Not Eddie Arcaro. I don't even know who Eddie Arcaro is. All right, but you get that standard lick. What Eddie would do is he would, and usually not way down here. It's very difficult down here. He would usually go like that, and it creates this. What's interesting is you're going under the 5, and then so you're going on the second string, 4th fret, 5th fret, and then 8th fret, and then from there you're doing the same thing on the next string. So it's a symmetrical lick, which is always easier to play. A symmetrical lick is easier to play fast because you're like, okay, my hand's doing the same thing. I can kind of get into a routine faster. I can get into a repetitive motion thing or a familiar pattern quicker when it's symmetrical like that. But what's interesting is from here, this G note here, you're playing G sharp and then you're playing A. So it's kind of like you're going like this, which is a very, I always think, when I think of things like that, I always think of horn section. You could hear a horn section doing something like that. So in some ways, Eddie's kind of doing this old-timey blues thing that sounds like a horn section. And all I'm doing is I'm doing it up an octave because it's easier. This is a pretty big spread for most people. Anyway, that's a trick that I wasn't even planning on bringing up, but where you can maybe find some notes that are outside the box, outside the key, literally outside the box, outside the key, just outside. We've talked about this too, because I can literally take this pentatonic scale and move it around to all 12 positions. And there's going to be varying degrees of inside and outside of this progression. It's going to be mostly in there, but like here, that F sharp doesn't really work, but there may be snippets of it to do. I have a visitor. My cat is going to sleep at my feet. It's a more common thing in jazz. It's more if I were to have like a let me grab one here, a G7 chord. Let's see, hold on. Oh, okay. Or I can modulate that. In fact, I think it was too high. Let me go down an octave. Okay, so there's an A7 chord, right? You hear that? So over a 7th chord, what we often refer to as a dominant 7th chord. In this case, it'd be A, C sharp, E and G. You can mess around with all the pentatonics, and you can even, if you wanted to, you could take there's only, again, 5 notes in a pentatonic. You can analyze. If you really, if you're like, I think Sam would probably do this. Sam, you would probably do this. You can analyze all 12 pentatonic scales over that A7 chord, and what notes do we get? So here we have root, flat third, 4, 5, 6. I mean, sorry, 7. Works great. It's kind of the common. I need something here. Let me see if this works. Here we go. I'm gonna shorten it. Okay, but I can also move it up a fret, and I get A flat or G sharp, which is weird. Now the A sharp or the B flat, that's actually the flat 9. So that might be work. Look, the third's gonna, the C sharp's gonna work. This is a flat 5, this is a sharp 5, this is a major 7th. Some of these notes aren't gonna work, but some of them are, like those. Now, the context there, normally if you're playing over a 5 chord, it's going to the 1 chord. So let me make this go to the 1 chord. All right, drag this here. And there's the 1, but I'm gonna make it go to a 1 major chord. I gotta get this, where's the 7th? Where's the C? Sorry. Oh, there it is, on top, okay. Okay, I'll knock it down a notch. All right. A7. A7 here, you can do it this way. D major 7, very pretty, very sassy. So, I mean, it's outside. So my point is that you move the pentatonic scale up 1 fret and you get some really outside notes, but they're justifiable notes. They're notes that you can, I can hear using them. You can kind of see it. And then you could go to the next pentatonic and go, okay, now we got the root, the 9th, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the root. Which is perfect because it lines up perfectly for the 1 chord, the D chord. So anyway, so moving a pentatonic around, and in the example I used here at the top of this, no, I want, that's so weird. Oh, that doesn't matter. I can go like this. Oh, no, I want this. Okay. It's our jam progression that I dropped last week, okay? If I go down, sounds weird. It just sounds like, oh, he's doing something weird. Doesn't work mathematically, but if it gets you where you're going, what difference does it make? See, I like that a lot. It was many times do you hear players do something like that where you're there go, that sounds weird, man, how did he know how to do that? And all I'm doing is I'm taking this box right here of the pentatonic number 1, and I'm just going down a fret, and I'm ending up with a A major, but I'm really not hanging out there. I'm actually probably more thinking about like the D, the E, the F sharp, G. So I'm just kind of adding these notes below this, and it's a fishing expedition. Soloing is just going fishing. You're hunting. You're just putting the lure down, and you're going, am I going to get anything there? And so you go. You're like, ooh, I caught something. A big smelly fish. A lot of times those outside notes you're not going to want to sit on. Like that. It's interesting over the A, but over the F, it's not going to work. Then we get to the G chord. I mean, if you were to not play this C sharp, then yeah, you could probably call it like a Dorian blues. So I'm combining the A minor blues scale, all the notes of the A minor blues with the A minor, or the A Dorian. So it's basically just Dorian with an extra note. But I could also put that A flat or G sharp in there, okay? So now it's a hybrid scale that really doesn't have a name. Like not every scale has a name. Almost better that it doesn't, because then somebody can't come along and go, wow, you just played the A Flemblalian scale. And I'm like, usually when somebody says, I'll be like, what? I'm like, I don't know what that is. In fact, it's so funny. Probably the best musician, one of the best musicians I know is Sheila Gonzalez. She plays sax and keys at our church. She's like, plays second keys. And she toured for 10 years with Dweezil Zappa. She tours with Colin Hay, currently from Men at Work and stuff. So she's often not in town and playing at our church, but she's like a beast with soloing on sax. And I'm like, we do something and she's soloing over it, and I'm like, afterwards I go, what scale were you using over that A7 chord? And she's like, I have no idea. She kind of she's like the living adage, don't think play. I mean, don't think play. She just plays. She's not thinking about what scale should I use here, and that's I think a big part of getting into the zone. I don't think you can get into that zone where you're being truly really really creative if you're thinking scale names and chord tones and all that stuff. You just go for it. And then you follow your ear. So if that makes sense, and Sam, if there's anything that's going to hold you back, it's going to be that thing where you're overanalyzing what you're doing. You probably need to find a time in your routine, your practice routine, where you really don't think about that kind of stuff. It's really helpful if it's a really complex chord progression that you can't keep up with, like say giant steps. Then it's just a matter of like, okay, trying to find a place to play something. Just all you can do is you're flying by the seat of your pants. If you try to think about it too much, you're not going to come up with anything good. You just kind of have to feel it. So sometimes maybe spend 10 minutes a day, or a total of 30 minutes a week playing over something that you wouldn't have a prayer playing over, and just let your ear and your hands take you where they go and see what happens. I think that's a good mental exercise. It's a good connecting your hands to your head exercise. like singing with your playing. Gets him out below my range. But yeah, so that's one suggestion I might have for that. Now, this isn't actually, again, still wasn't what I was planning on talking about. But the nice thing about having this over here, all of those scales, you can see patterns that skip strings. Like for example, pattern, take the pentatonic number 1, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay? Backwards, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to skip a string. So I'm going to play the sixth string, and then the fourth string. This is one of my string skipping exercises, but this is not so much that. This could be the beginning of a melodic idea that takes you, because you're doing a minor third, and then this interval is a fifth. And you wouldn't normally play fifths in a solo. You might not do something like that. So this forces you to do that. Okay, if we go to the next pair of strings, we would be the fifth string and the third string. So that would be both string sets would be on the fifth and seventh string, fifth and seventh fret. By the way, I got reached out to by another YouTuber that wants to get together in October when he's in town. He's not a really big YouTuber. In fact, he has about, at this point, he has about 1/4 of the subscribers I have. Probably exactly 1/4 of what I have. Hey, Brad, what's going on? Good to see you. But he reached out to me. He's got some really good videos that keep showing up in my the algorithm. So I started following him, and then we followed each other on Instagram. So he's going to be out here in October. I think he's in Austin, Texas, and he wants to get together and film or talk or something. So always good to collaborate with another YouTuber like I did with Paul. Now I don't know, his videos look like as good as Paul's. Like he's really good at editing and all. He really is into that. And for him, we've been talking about, I said, yeah, my videos are me just talking to y'all. Like my biggest video is me just sitting on a sofa, pretty much unedited. You know, I got what, almost 4 million views of that video. I mean, I'm over 10 million views. Right? Bruce, you can look that up, right? I'm over 10 million views total. Post his name on Discord. Yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you, it's no big deal. I think you should all follow him. He just posted a new video yesterday. His name is John Meyer. He has great looking videos. And if you go to John, it's like John Mayer, John Meyer. If you go to John Mayer, music, and subscribe, tell him that I recommended you. You know, I'm happy to get him more subscribers. He really, really deserves it, far more than I do. The thing I like about his videos is he tells a story. He really, really tells a story. In fact, that's probably a question I'm going to ask him when we're together. Is like, do you script this out? And he actually made a joke about that in the newest video. So I don't know if you've heard of him, but you know, we can all hit like, woo, hearts, party, woo, happy. You guys all have that button over there in the chat. So, but yeah, so what can start out as an exercise, skipping strings. Like notice that just that one, the bottom, the sixth string and the fourth string. And again, this is something that Mick Goodrick might tell you to do in advancing guitarists. Avoid strings. That gets you out of your ruts. You know, so often we're fighting these ruts where, man, all my solos sound the same. Yeah, Sam, you'll really dig his channel. But you might be able to find something in here that works. I think one thing, you're starting on a root and ending up here is a root. I mean, that all works. All of that is cool. It's a little low for a guitar solo. It might not pop as much as if you did all of that stuff up higher, but I could. It's a little bit of a different exercise if you move it up an octave. But it's much more likely to cut through if you play it there. Probably easier to play at the 12th fret on the 5th and the 3rd string. Same exact, everything I did there I could do. But it's a good exercise for your right hand to be skipping strings. But it's a good exercise also mentally, that you're not just playing thirds and seconds in your solos. It gets you out of those ruts. It gets you away from being kind of in a boring, creating something melodically that's a little boring. Okay, the next pattern is nice because it's the same 2 fingers, same 2 frets, the 5th and 7th fret. And what do I have? I've got a D note, okay, but I've got an E note, which is in the E notes in all 3 of those chords, right? I intentionally put an E note in all 3 of those chords. Really good to be able to skip strings like that. It's a good exercise. The D's work right over the G chord. Now I'm combining those 2. It's much more angular. It opens up a whole new, it gives you a new voice to use without learning anything new. I love this kind of stuff. It's the same thing with sliding down a pentatonic. Sliding down that first finger in your basic pentatonic. It opens up an entire new approach to solos and to melodies and all that kind of thing. So, I love it when you can take something super basic and then turn it into something far more complex, especially sounding complex without actually having to be complex. This is the book I've been trying to find. I thought it was written by Herbie Hancock, but I don't think it was. Maybe he did the foreword to it or something like that. But it was a book about that very thing, about the homework I gave Sam to go through over an A7 chord, play all 12 pentatonic scales, all 12 keys, and analyze what are the notes you're playing. Okay, this one's got the flat 9 and the major 3rd and the flat 5 and the sharp 5 and the major 7th, blah, blah, blah. This one's pretty outside. Okay, but this one's only, it's just every note, but it's got a major 2nd, all of that analysis. The whole point of that was to be able to have basically the world musically completely open up 100% to you, by using one little sliver, like it's such a small little piece of music as the pentatonic scale. But that one little skill that you are, many of you already have, you already know how to play it, you already know how to feel it, but you can make it sound like it's not in a minor pentatonic by playing it, It sounds so much weirder when you play it at the 12th fret because you get rid of the C note and you get a B note instead. So now you've got this weird note that works, but it's more haunting. It's a sharp 11 over the F. It's the ninth over the A. It's a third of the G chord. So totally in the pocket over the G chord. You can even sit on it. Here comes the 11th. 11th. There it is, a third of the G chord. So that's the kind of thing, and I think you're all hearing me and listening to me and applying what I'm saying because you're not texting down here. That's good. How many do we have? Now, if I have 4 people, then I know why. Okay, so I got 28 people, or 31. That's pretty stinking good, right? We got probably got a couple Paul David people here. But yeah, so just by playing a scale that you already know and skipping one string, you open up this whole new sound, whole new set of ideas. And I talked about this last week and the week before. When you're soloing, you don't want to just play your scales because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're doing exercises. No, you want to try to say something. You want to have a conversation. If we were to have a conversation that just went A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, and I shouted, it's like, that's not a conversation. But that's what you're doing when you're going. You're not really saying anything. You're reciting the alphabet. So this way, you kind of, I'm trying to give you tools. So take that alphabet and turn it into words, right? Like your little babies. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I do run the risk of being super condescending because I'm so freaking brilliant. Sorry. Oh, hey, Miguel, what's going on? Good to see you. I am glad you are here. Hopefully, I speak slow enough. I don't know if English is your first. Well, clearly you speak English. You speak English better than I speak anything else. So, all right. So let's do the next string pair. Let's see what we have. We're going to do the 4th string. So we have 5th fret and 7th fret. Well, that's great. We have the G and the A. So we have the 7th and the root. Okay, which is the same as we had when we did the 6th string and the 4th string. Yes, exactly. That's Sam's assignment. Anybody else can do it, but Sam, if you want to do that, you can even post it up on and all those scales are only going to have 5 notes, right? The whole point, and like I said, I told you this before. I saw Pat Metheny. I sat in the 3rd row, like Pat Metheny was right there. I saw him perform, and he played a billion notes, didn't hit a bad one, but I'm watching his hands, and I was shocked at how often he plays pentatonic scales. How often he just plays minor, pentatonic scales, up and down, major, minor, doesn't really matter, they're the same. Pentatonic scales up and down the neck, and went, oh, and he used them in ways where, like, if he was playing over B flat, major, he would play, well, let me go over, let's see, A major 7, okay, A flat major, or A major 7. He would play G sharp minor pentatonic. And it creates this very Lydian sound. But kind of like if he just played Lydian scales, it would sound like a Lydian scale. But when you play a pentatonic scale to imply a Lydian scale, it sounds more hollowed out because you're using 5 notes instead of 7 notes. So it creates a little bit more of a haunting sound than just you doing the. And you might arrive at all of this by playing the Lydian scale. But this is a shortcut to getting to that point of playing a more hollowed sound. Anyway, so back to our minor pentatonic here. And the cool thing, Sam, is that everything we're working on right now, where I'm skipping strings, would apply to playing the scales. It would apply to moving the scales around in different positions and still skipping the strings. And I'm still using just pentatonic number 1, the most common one. Okay, so the next one was 5th fret of the 4th string, 7th fret of the 4th string, 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then 8th fret of the 2nd string. So we have the 7th, or the G, the A, which is the root in the key of A minor. We have the 5th, the E, and remember, I put an E in every one of those chords. See right there? You see those chords? The A minor, F major 7, G6 essentially. So that E note's good over all 3 of those chords. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, so let me mess around with that 4-note grouping. Okay, everybody got it with me here? 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 8th fret on the 4th string and on the 2nd string. Here, I'm gonna jam along a little bit, see how it could be used. See what I can come up with. Like that. At any point you can break away from that little pattern and go to something that makes melodic sense. That's again, if you just do, you do things like this and it just sounds like another pattern that you're doing, and that's my whole point, is to get away from patterns. But having little tricks like this, a little thinking outside the box trick, can get you started on a decent solo. All right. Okay, so the next grouping would be 5/7 and 5/8 on the 3rd string and on the 1st string. So on the 3rd string, it's a C and a D. So that's the minor 3rd, and that's in the first 2 chords. The D is in the last chord, but both of them are going to work because you're in the key. And then on the top string, you have an A and a C. So the A is going to work on 2 of the chords, and the C will work on 2 of the chords. You might have a little bit of hard time justifying that G chord with this particular pattern, but that's when you can make an adjustment. Go to that B note right there, which is something a blues player would do when they go to the 5 chord. When they go to the 5, right? They would take that pentatonic shape, but then they would go to the B instead of the C when they're over the 5 chord. That's really kind of the only adjustment you have to make. We did this when we were talking about blues, though, where we would play this for the A, we play this for the D chord, the 4, and then the 5 chord. Just taking a little snippet and turning it into a guitar solo, and making subtle changes to accommodate the 1 and the 4 and the 5 chord. We've done that before. But so I might You might bring in that beat. Let me try this. A real common blues one. That's a really common blues lick. So I'm hitting the 5th fret of the 1st string and the 5th fret of the 3rd string, which is like the root 3rd. But again, that just melodically doesn't sound like something you would normally play. So it's a good way to get yourself out of ruts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use maybe use the skipping string thing as a way to start a solo, but then go into something else. But again, the skin stripping, the string skipping thing can give you a start to an idea that you can continue to develop if you want. So let me see what I can come up with. Not really saying anything there. In my opinion, it was cool. I was having fun, but melodically, I didn't feel like, I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but it's not really saying anything. I'm not having a conversation. It's like I'm just throwing random words at it, like, banana and guitar pick. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. Hey, is Paul Meyer here? Get out of town. Hey, Paul Meyer, what's going on? Ooh, lunch break. Ooh, yeah, I'm going out. I'm going to lunch. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, double stops. Yep. They're weird double stops. Like 7ths and 6ths. Well, 6ths are pretty common, but 7th, it's kind of. I like them. I like 7ths. That's a 7th. That's a 7th. Let them ring out against each other. It creates a little bit of a dissonance. All right, let's see if I can come up with something a little bit better solo-wise. Let me try this. Hold on. That was cool. So again, I'm kind of visualizing. I'm in pentatonic number, what I call pentatonic number 4. So I'm doing a little lick there in pentatonic number 4, and I'm skipping a string and going to that note, the 5. That's not normal. That's very common. But that resolution. And then I resolved to the root. So everything was right with the world. Everybody in the audience is, oh, he knows the root. Okay, phew. Well, I was a little worried there. That's what happened. Totally jacked that one up, but I like what happened. Started there, was going. Yeah, that worked. Play same thing in first position. Okay, I can do that. Sam, yes, the one thing you can, one thing I noticed that Eric Johnson does a lot, it's groupings of 5. So he'll do 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, but he will do 5 notes in those 16th note groupings. Consequently, it sounds more random than it really is, okay? Like you listen to some of Eric Johnson's phrases, particularly his descending lines, and you go, oh, that sounds so random. Because when he goes down, he does, the beat is, you know, it kind of naturally randomizes itself, or at least it sounds like it's randomizing. So what I would practice is doing groupings of 5. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Let me pull up a little bit more of a gainy tone. Oh, no, not that one. Let me do this one. I'll just throw, let me see if I can just throw if I can maybe throw a pedal in front of this or something. Is there a snot box here? Okay. Wow. Oh, that's really not good. That one's annoying. I'm not a big amplitude. I usually use Guitar Rig. Let's see. Yeah, let me try this. Oh my gosh. Way too much. I mean, I'm pretty sloppy. Eric, but Eric would do that kind of thing. So what you want to do is you take your basic pentatonic and just do groupings of 5. So I'm going to go from the top note down 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you got 2 options here. You can either go to the next note from the top descending, which would mean go to this note and do 5 there. So it looks like this. All I'm doing is doing that, but I'm going this note, then down 5, this note, then down 5, this note, down 5, this note, down 5. Okay, that's the first way you can descend using 5s. The other way you can do it is to just go to the next string down. So what that requires is you to sometimes do a finger roll. Sometimes you'll finish off with like a group of 6. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I hear a lot of that in this playing. But I'm no Eric Johnson aficionado. It would be hard to be because he plays well in so many different genres, you know. But yeah, that's kind of might be how I would approach doing. And then he likes doing like the like how would Eric Johnson play over this? It's a good question. Because he does definitely, he loves six. He loves doing the. He loves doing the triads. So maybe, let's see, he might do something like. Let's see. You know, he. Yeah, it would be hard. I'd be curious what he would do over something like that. It's not a hard progression. It's a super simple progression. And oftentimes, he doesn't play over really complex progressions. A lot of times he plays over one chord. Like he'll hit an E note and then he'll jam on an E pentatonic for a while, doing different E minor stuff or E minor, the key of E minor. Like he'll hit a. I don't know how I don't know how he thinks. That's and I'll tell you a trick to play like your favorite player. It's a little counterintuitive, but once you start doing it, it makes sense. Don't study him. Do not study Eric Johnson if you want to play like Eric Johnson. Study the people he cites as influences. I know he loved Wes Montgomery, so study Wes Montgomery. And when he does his jazzy things, he's channeling. He's trying to channel. He's doing the Eric Johnson filtered way to play like Wes Montgomery. And so if you want to, there we go. If you want to play and think like Eric Johnson plays and thinks, then your best bet is to study who he studies. So like who were the rock players that he was into? I really don't know. Eric Clapton? Doesn't really sound like any Eric Clapton. Maybe some Jimmy Page, but again, almost doesn't sound like he would say, oh yeah, Jimmy Page was a big influence. And a lot of times, I know for me, some of my biggest influencers were people I actually took lessons from, or guys that played in bands when I was a kid growing up and going to see bands, local bands. Oftentimes, yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Was Stevie Ray Vaughan an influence? They were almost, weren't they born like really close to the same year? And they're both from Austin, right? Sad to think that. Yeah, okay, 1954. They were both born the same year. But you're right though. You made my point that probably Stevie was freaking huge in Austin, and before anybody in the world knew who Stevie Ray Vaughan was, Austin knew who Stevie Ray Vaughan was. Hendrix, definitely, you're right. Hendrix was but you're right. Stevie Ray Vaughan would have been one of those guys that people go, oh, he's influenced by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yeah, he was influenced by unknown Stevie Ray Vaughan because he would go to clubs and see him play, or they play at the same clubs because they were born the same year. It's kind of weird to think that Stevie would be, 69 this year, 70 next year. That's so sad. But okay, so yeah, so study Stevie Ray Vaughan, study Hendrix, study Wes Montgomery, and believe it or not, all of those will cross over, like into into Eric's different styles he plays in. You think when he's doing his jazzy stuff, he's only channeling Wes Montgomery. No, he's channeling all of his influences. He's skewing probably towards Wes Montgomery, but then if he's in that zone, if you're, like I talk about being in the zone, he's just playing. He's not thinking. Eric, I don't know. My opinion on Eric Johnson, and I don't know him, and this is not a dig, is that what he does is he tries to get himself in the zone, captures it, records it, okay, and then he perfects that he created when he was in the zone. So a lot of not many players can play completely perfect and be in the zone at the same time, because that zone is a place where you're kind of taking chances and it's hard not to make a mistake. I felt like Pat Metheny was in the zone the whole time and didn't hit a bad note. Like, that's how good you have to be. And Eric, I feel like he's kind of a studio rat. He gets in the studio and he plays over something. He goes, yes, that's it. And I've done this. I do this often when I'm writing a solo. I'll be like, okay, that's it. In fact, on my Gypsy Jazz thing that I released, what is it? What was it called? What was the song called that I released on Spotify? A Gypsy Jazz thing. What I did was I put the music on loop and then I played a bunch of passes through it, and I had like 10 different passes through it, and I started what's called comp a track. I take this part of pass 1, and then the next part was part of pass 6, and then pass 3, and then back to pass 1, and then pass 10, and boom, boom, boom. I made this. It looks like a patchwork kind of quilt of a guitar solo, and then what happens is, let me see. I could. Where would that be? I can even do a screenshot of it so you can see. But then I cobbled it together. The problem was there was too much overlap and stuff, so like I couldn't just take that and crossfade everything and make it work. No, then what I did was I transcribed it, okay, and I wrote it out, and then I replayed it. And even then I had to punch in because it was so hard. Some of it was so hard. But I used Tom in the zone to come up with the solo. Then I used Tom, the thinking Tom, the analytical Tom. It's kind of a left brain, right brain thing. I don't know which is which, but I used that Tom to do the ultimate performance of it. Does that make sense? Oh, the truth will always be possible. Oh, I gotta check that out. Thanks, Sam. I'm sure I know the song. But the drag about jazz music is that the names don't really tell you anything. They're just names. The truth will always be. Yeah, there it is. All right, where is it? Oh, that album. Secret Story. Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I know this solo, but offhand I don't know it. How many views? Well, this has got 1.5 million views for a Pat Metheny tune. That's a lot. Okay, so boom. Hello from Connecticut, California. All right, so let's see what. Okay, so let me go up to the next pentatonic. Because again, this is another way to get to know your pentatonics, right? We all know pentatonic number 1. It's really easy to know that one, but number 2, how do you navigate that one? Okay, so what I'm gonna do? I like this already because I've got the C, the D, an A, and a C. But the only one that's gonna work over the G chord technically is a D. It's the same as that one, so I might go to that B over the G. Going to the next one. So this is going to be 7, 10, 7, 9. Oh, no, wait. Is that right? Yeah, it is. It's just a fun way to get yourself out of the typical boxes. It's just a new set of boxes, so you run the risk of it sounding boxy as well if you overdo it, or if that was the only aspect to your playing. But it can even be just. I was using it earlier when I was soloing. I was using it earlier just to find a note to land on that was not the next string down, okay? Like when I went, naturally you might go, you would probably maybe do something like that. Again, I'm on pentatonic number 5, which is the top one here. This is this one here. I'm at the 12th fret. But that's like really inside. That's really done. But if I go, I like that. You know, it's like, it's much more interesting of a melody than I mean, that's, to me, that's like 57 times more interesting. So if I were just to play very straight in the pentatonic, that's great. Heard that a million times. That sounds a little bit like Neil Schon would do something like that, or Eric Clapton, or David Gilmour, but none of them would probably do this. Eric Johnson might do something like that. And that's, to me, much more interesting. All I'm doing is skipping a string. I can do it here, too. Oh, it sounds a little bit like Chris. Yeah. I don't, Rhea, I don't know. Let's see. You know, I've never done any reaction videos. Let's see. Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy. Yeah. You know what's crazy is I've told you about Judith Hill, who's the daughter of the bass player and keyboard player at my church, Pee Wee and Michiko. And Pee Wee's like 6'4". So I think Pee Wee was meant to be ironic. But their daughter Judith Hill, who's a singer, singer-songwriter, and she learned how to play music on the piano. She studied piano. Well, she started playing guitar. I gave her her first couple guitar lessons. In fact, I think I've probably given her only guitar lessons. And she's actually playing the Crossroads Festival here in LA with Eric Clapton. Buddy Guy's going to be there. I think Robert Cray is going to be there. So the Crossroads Festival she's going to be playing at that I think it's in September. And so it's crazy. She's probably been playing, you know, Eric Clapton has socks that are older than Judith has been playing guitar. And she started out on a Tele, but now she's playing an SG, a black SG, and it's perfect. It's like the perfect instrument for her. And she's kind of playing funky stuff, and she can solo a little bit. She can sing along with her soloing. And so she's getting good. I gave Michiko a slide to give to Judith. Actually, it was this slide. I think it's called Preaching Pipe by Dunlop. Because I feel like slide guitar is like the closest thing to a voice. Going blues over the G chord doesn't really work. Oh yeah, Holly's not here. And normally you would be in open tuning, and that wouldn't be such a big jump to get that Duane Allman vibe. Anyway, it's fun to play slide. I like playing slide. It makes you, and that's another thing that really makes you think differently about your fretboard and your scales and your chords and all that stuff. Not a bad idea to have a slide. Well, everyone should have a slide. You can experiment with different ones. Like Duane Allman used a. Oh man, it went blurry again. Hold on. If I go back, what did I do last time? Was it I went in and I came out slowly? Boop, boop. I don't want you to see me this close, though. Give away all the mystery. All right, well, we'll just let it kind of come back on its own. I think it'll eventually do it. I don't have there's no button to hit or anything that I can reset it. It's just, it's annoying. Derek Trucks. Oh, yeah. Oh, you telling someone to check out Derek Trucks? Yeah, Derek is great. In fact, that was something that I learned from Derek Trucks that was I was like, you're not allowed to do this, and he does it, and I went, wait, you can do this, and that's fretting with a slide. I was like, no, the whole point of slide is to slide, not to fret. I can fret with my finger, but he would do particularly on the first string. Sorry, it'll stop being blurry in a second. You just like that, like. Usually when I play slide, I use my fingers on my right hand so I can mute all the non-used strings. So if I'm not playing the bottom strings, I mute them. If I'm, I can choose what string I want to ring out, and that gets rid of all this extra noise. Yeah, Derek plays an opening. Mostly, yeah. And I think Sonny Landreth did it too. It's still not getting unblurry. Hold on. All right. Come on out. There we go. Yeah, come on. Come on out. Come on. Refocus. Refocus. Nope. It's not, I don't necessarily recommend this camera. I could use my phone as a camera. Then I have to get a mount for there, and then I'll be getting text and phone calls and crud. We're almost out of time anyway. I got things to do today. But yeah, check out that guy John Mayer or Mayer, John Mayer Music. Like I said, I think we're gonna get together in October. Check him out on Music. You know what I meant. On YouTube. He's a YouTuber. He's a musician. He creates library music. I think he has a library company. He actually has free library, like he creates like library music that you can download and use. Probably works with Contact, so you can have like sample his piano or what. Yeah, John Mayer's great too. Not that John Mayer. Come on, focus. What is the deal? It's just where's it plugged in? I wonder if I unplugged it and plugged it back in. I said, I would use that string skipping thing maybe to instigate a new idea, or to start a solo. And then at that point, you might go into a solo that's more, middle of the road solo. I'm just messing around. I don't know. Just kind of messing around. One of the things you can do too is that's just a chord loop. That's just a very simple progression looped over and over and over again. And it's really good to practice over that. And you kind of find, oh yeah, that kind of works. You might discover some things, or you can take some chances. If it's a progression that changes chords, keys too much, you're going to be thinking more. You're going to be trying to make that work and find stuff. But even if you've got to play over a solo like that, it's really over chords like that. It's good to kind of create some kind of loop that you can play over. Especially, say, if you're having a really hard time getting from two chords. Like, oh man, I'm really having a hard time getting from this B flat major chord to this A minor chord. What do I do over that? Well, maybe make a loop out of those two chords and practice coming up with some, or not even practice coming up with phrases that allow you to go back and forth there, but just to kind of get used to the sound of those two chords against each other, and then you'll find some stuff that works. So what's going on with Dennis? Oh, dang. Oh, Dennis injured. To try to keep up, hilarious. So this was last year, Dennis. All right. Any questions? Anybody? I felt like I kind of answered. What was his name? Sam. The other Sam. Sam number 2. Sam 2 questions about Sam number 2 about Eric Johnson, maybe a little bit. I don't know. But I think to play like for example, if you really want to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you definitely want to study Jimi Hendrix and Buddy Guy. And there's probably, again, just you read articles about them, and they tell you who their influences are, and that's who you study. And then you kind of come into playing the same way they did, and you're more likely to understand how they play. And then I think it's easier to play like them, if that makes any sense at all. I know George Benson, I was really into George Benson, and his biggest influences were Charlie Christian and Django Reinhardt. And when you go, well, yeah, they're very different. All three of those players are very different. But I would think, oh, it's Wes Montgomery, but really they were contemporaries. Like Wes Montgomery came up in the 50s, George Benson came up in the 60s, but little George Benson, I think he had stuff in the 50s. Like you're going between pentatonics with blues notes and chromatic notes. Now, 100% yes. With chromatic notes, blues notes, but also diatonic notes, Leo. So, I might play in A minor pentatonic, but then I might go to that B natural, which would be like playing in C or A minor. I might hit that F. So if I hit the B and the F, I'm technically in C major or A minor. Um, but then I can have blues notes in it. So I went, basically to the kind of implied A minor diatonic with the B natural note, but then kind of implied A minor blues with the E flat note. Yeah, so I'm kind of basically ultimately, here's the thing. Leo, what I'm not doing is I'm not going, okay, I'm going to go from A minor pentatonic to A minor diatonic, and then I'm going to go to A minor blues. And no, I'm not really thinking that. I'm on a note, and melodically I want to hear a different note. And if it's not in the A minor, it doesn't really matter. Somebody can come along and analyze what I played later and go, well, what he did there was he went to the A minor. But like I told you about Sheila at my church, she doesn't know what scale she's playing at any point. She's playing what she hears or what she wants to hear. So play My Harpoon. I don't know My Harpoon. Oof. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't have get arthritis. That would be bad. The cat's snoring. She totally the noise doesn't bother her. Doesn't bother her at all. If I did something really noisy, I think she'd probably leave. But oh, who are we? Who's going to a guitar? Let's see. Oh, your mom had surgery. Oh, your mom and you are going to a guitar. Uh, Oh, harmonica Tom. Yeah, I don't play harmonica. I can't get my tongue to curl up on the sides. Like I feel like to be able to play harmonica and hit just one note, you have to be able to curl up your tongue. And it's about 50% of people can do that, and about 50% can't. And I'm in the 50%. Oh, you quit competitive sports to play guitar? Yeah, I basically did the same thing. I try to do like team sports, but I was so little in junior high. And I did football. I tried out for the football team. Well, it wasn't really try out. You just show up and you're in the football team. Um, but my equipment, that they gave me a helmet that was too tight, and it was then we have practices in August, and you're running laps and equipment, and it's just hot and humid, and the helmet was too tight, and I was getting horrible headaches, and after a week or maybe 2 weeks I quit. I'm like, yeah, no, this is not for me. Same thing with track. I tried to do track and I just couldn't do it. I was like, forget it. I think with track, the timing on that was I had a girlfriend, or I got a girlfriend when I was like 13. Not really a girlfriend, but I was riding my bike to her house, but her house was like 10 miles away. So I was riding my bike 20 miles every day just to go see this girl. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do track. It doesn't make any sense. Huh. I do not play harmonica. No, it's one of the few instruments I don't play. Now I do have the Hohner, is it harmonium or with the keys? So if I need a harmonica sound on something and I don't have a sample that does it well, I can play that thing and it kind of sounds like a harmonica. I was going to show you. Let me see if I can find the original. What was it called? That song. Let's see. Strahle record, right? Strahle record. Mainland song. Question mark. That's what I called the song. Okay, so here's. Oh no, that's just that. Where's the session? Oh, is it here? Those are just MP3s. All right, let me search for question mark. Oh, okay, here, this may be it. Is that a Logic Pro? Okay. Close, save, sure. Let's see if I can do a screen grab of what it looks like to comp a track and to show you what I did with question marks. So if you go to like YouTube, well, I can find it. I got it here. Let's see, YouTube. Strahle. It doesn't have many views. It has 100 views. I didn't really put it up there as much to like try to get spins, as it's now officially out and published and released. So if anyone wants to use it for a TV show or movie, they have to license it, which gets me more money on the front end and the back end. All right, so here it is. Let's see. So that's me. Yeah, that's not the whole thing. Yeah, I think I can do a little snippet of this. Let me see what this looks like. If I unmute this. Yeah. So let me do a screen grab of this, and you can get an idea of what comping looks like. Oh, that's weird. It looks like the same thing over and over again. I don't know. Anyway, can I drag this over here? Yeah. Oh, it disappeared. Never mind. Okay, I gotta do it this way. New desktop. There we go. All right. So you can see this. The top blue track is what it sounds like. You can see it. I don't know why. Boy, I really went for it. Oh, because I know that's the bump, 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 bump. So ultimately, I did. If you count the grays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 passes, and I used. It starts out with pass 2, goes to pass 1, back to 2, back to 1, then down to 5, then back to 1, then down to 3, back up to 1, and down to 6, and then up to 3 to the end. I guess I had it figured out by then. I didn't use any of. This is the melody though, so this is just probably not. Ultimately, what that is not. That's just a melody. So there's nothing too complex there because that's very simple to comp the melody because you have the melody. Let me remove this. Let me see if I can find the solo section. That's going to be a whole nother bird, I believe. Let me see what solo this. Yeah, so let me do a screen grab of this. So this is a little bit more, even still, it's not as easy to edit this one. And again, I edit, I cobbled together what's called a comp. It's a comp stands for composite, I think. A composite of the solo. The top is everything, and then you can see where, okay, I used the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth. Start with the fifth guitar, then the fourth guitar, and it goes to this third guitar. And basically what I'm doing there is I don't know if we can zoom in on it, but basically there's some notes that get cut off and everything. It doesn't really work. But what I have there is basically, okay, I like this solo. And the funny thing is you spend less time, like that passage is maybe a minute long. So to play through it 6 times like that, took 6 minutes. And then it's probably took me 3 days to put together the comp to pick the best of those 6 minutes. Now, could I have improvised the perfect solo if I just kept trying? I'm going to say no, because I'm not a gypsy jazz guitar player. I'm playing at gypsy jazz. And so, yeah, that would be very difficult for me to play the perfect solo or 5 perfect solos in a row. I know guys that can do it, but I wanted my music. I could have them do it, but then it would be their song, not my song. So, so that's kind of how I worked with that. With a rock solo, I wouldn't necessarily do that, but I don't know. I don't have plans to do any rock songs. Maybe I have one rock song. What? Well, I think Walter wanted to play on it. Where is that? Boop-a-doop-a-doop. This is different. So let's get rid of that. Strahle, where are you? Strahle record. Emma Louise, I released. Friends was me and Beth Madeline's a good song. A mandolin song I've been working on. Do I have? Yeah, I think I've been kind of comping together that one. I don't see, not from where, far from where I stand is one that I would sing if I release it. I don't know. I just, I don't like my voice anymore. Well, I never liked my voice, but that's not unusual. So anyway, I am going to, I'll see you guys next Monday, I think. Yeah, I think I'm around next Monday. I got other things I got to do today, but I will, we're going to continue on this. My hope is that what I'm actually talking to beginners and advanced at the exact same time. I'm giving beginners the ability to make something very simple sound complex, and I'm giving advanced players the ability to think outside the box. Advanced players or pro players or people that are pretty good, they do tend to be a little bit on the, they have tendencies and patterns and things they ruts they want to get out of, and so that's kind of what I try, what I'm trying to share here. Okay, does that make sense? But is this good? Everybody liking this? I mean, what do you think? Thanks for pooping in. Oh. Oh, what's this? Oh, Jangology. Is that what it's called? Jangology? What's this? Oh, that's right. I forgot about this one. That's a totally different one. Yeah, that one I didn't release on uh, sorry, I'm just thinking someone. That one I didn't release on Spotify. I could do more. Definitely, I have a bunch of these. I forgot about this one. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce, for promoting it. I appreciate that. Okay, so okay, no worries, good karma. I appreciate that feedback. Okay, Leo, appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Joseph. So yeah, so this makes sense. Oh, we all love this. Okay, all right, all right. Well, I'm gonna keep going because here, and I say this, generally guitar players when they're practicing, they spend 95% of their time practicing, but when they're actually gigging, they spend about 95% of their time playing rhythm. And to be honest, the guitar players that tend to work the most are the ones that have great rhythm chops. Whether it's in an original band, if you want to be, if you can come up with a good rhythm, a good idea for a song, a hook or something that's going to be more in the rhythm part. And so now there is that 5% of the time you might be soloing, and you want to be able to have your chops ready for that. So, but it's a little bit more glamorous to solo than to play rhythm. The lead guitar player, everybody knows who Keith Richards is or Slash, but who's the other guy? And so that's where that's why so many people guitar players are gravitated towards practicing soloing and lead work, and not so much the groove and the rhythm stuff. And I'm just as guilty as that as anybody. But if you don't have a good feel, no one's going to want to jam with you. You can be the best soloist, but a lot of players can solo over the blues, but they can't play a blues progression without messing up. It's like, come on, man, play. It's 12 bars. You can get through it. It's not 11 bars. It's not 13 bars. No, you don't go to the 5 chord there. You go to the 4 chord there. It's like, how hard is this? It's really hard for a lot of people. So yeah, you really have to learn to be a good basically an accompanist, a friend. You need to learn how to play well with others. All right. So okay, thank you, AJ. Appreciate it. You have a great week. Start Monday off right. Am I going to do more videos? I have a video that I shot about the Squier, the ETA Squier. I haven't edited it yet. I don't know if it's concise enough. It might be too... Maybe I'll just take snippets of it and throw it up in Facebook, YouTube Shorts. Anyway, if you could just... Derek's Truck's playing... I keep studying and thriving. Yeah, Leo, I'll look into that. Yeah, I'm sure there's some guys that really do some great videos on it and really dive into it. But I would have to go to OpenE. Oh, that's not a problem. I got a million guitars. Do an OpenE thing and then go from there. All right. So, okay. I will talk to you later. Everybody have a good time. Be safe this week. And if you can, this week at some point, jam with another guitar player. All right. Really, really good. Brad does it all the time. Brad, you jam with a lot of guitar players all the time. So I know Brad's going to do that. But if you can, try to jam with somebody this week and make it a social thing. All right. Help to get out of your shell and hang out with people. We're designed to be around people, that's why COVID lockdowns were so awful. And it's why the suicide rate is the highest it's ever been. And I think it's the #1 killer in America, is largely because people feel isolated and they feel like nobody cares. And don't let anybody feel that way. All right. That's my public service announcement. Thanks, Paul, for joining us. I appreciate it. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.